what I started now to call the overdependence on the in-state market is starting to catch up with us. Because, you know, in the boom days of the auto industry, where you had all of these highly paid white-collar, blue-collar workers with lots of vacation time, the Michigan tourism industry could basically live off the in-state market.
Really?
Didn't really need much more.
Yeah. So you're talking the GM, the Ford, the
Absolutely.
Daimler, the Masco, the guys.
Right. Now, you fast forward to today, where we have, you know, hundreds of thousands fewer of those people with those jobs, people worried about their pensions and their health care and all the stuff that's going on with the transition in the auto industry. Well, now the in-state market is not as dependable as it used to be. And that's why this push for more promotion out of state is particularly important, because, you know, it's not just that we're bringing in new visitors and new money, which is a good thing, obviously. In some cases, we're advertising in a market like Chicago, which is much stronger economically. And
Right.
so you've got a better pool of potential visitors to spend more money, you know. And I think that this kind of circles back to the branding thing, and that's one of the things about the Pure Michigan branding, and is that it's about not presenting Michigan as the cheapest place to go. Mm-hmm. It's about presenting Michigan as a place that is so special, you know, that the experiences are so special that you're willing and happy to invest more time and money here than you might somewhere else.
So you're marketing a premium experience.
Exactly. And you know, when you think about, you know, I think anybody, when they think about their own trip planning, you always kind of go through that calculation of, well, what's the cost side of doing this, you know, going to this place, versus what I perceive the value of this to be. And if it's perceived to be high value, then a lot of consumers won't mind paying more for it. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, is it worth getting on a plane to go to this place? Is it worth taking 2 planes to get there, having to change planes to get there? Is it worth flying overnight to go to Europe, or, you know, whatever it is? And so that's what the Pure Michigan branding, I think, has done successfully, is that it's put out there that Michigan is not just another destination with golf courses or with lakes or with lighthouses, but it is a special place, mm-hmm. special enough that visitors will come from a long way and spend a lot of time here. And a lot of money.
Good. That is a very good way to summarize it. How is the winter tourism?
It's good. You know, winter's a little. We have a good product, especially for states south of us and for Lower Michigan. You know, we're never going to be a national destination for winter, but we're a very, very, very good regional destination. And, you know, I was in Ohio before I came here, and was in Texas before that. And, you know, some of those states to the south of us don't have much in the way of snow or elevation.
Right, yeah. I went to school in Ohio, and it's very flat.
Yes. So I think in particular, you know, we can probably do more down there. You know, winter is a lot like being a farmer, because the weather is everything, especially for cross country and snowmobiling. You know, the downhill resorts have obviously snowmaking equipment, and as long as it gets cold enough, they can make snow. But for snowmobiling, you know, you got to have natural snow and lots of it. And, you know, last winter was not a very good weather winter for us. I mean, it just wasn't.
You know, we had our legislative snowmobile trip, and next year, if you're ever interested, we leave generally from Gaylord, Senator Thomas and I do, and then start heading north. And we scrubbed it 3 weekends in a row in January.
Right.
And you know, it just couldn't. And then, as you know, in our world, we start getting busy again, and it becomes very difficult to get it going again.
Right. And yeah, we had snow, but it was also late, and we missed the holidays, and so winter. I mean, summer is also. I mean, all of our tourism, to some extent, is weather dependent, but winter is probably the most extreme case of that. And it just was not a very good winter. You know, what we need is the exact opposite. We need snow. We need cold and snow early. Mm-hmm. You know, so we have a great, hopefully even Thanksgiving, but certainly Christmas. Right. You know, and then carries on into the rest of the winter. So.
Right. Okay, so talking about, you know, one of the things that has been sort of brought up in a lot of our local Chamber of Commerce is sort of these sort of specialty tourism sects. Mm-hmm. And you talked a little bit about the yuppie retirement. How are you thinking that this is going to, you know, how are you going to market to these people? Are you going to get into specific types of activities, or what do you?
Yeah, I think that we do a couple of things. One is that we're certainly our age demographic is going to include the booming retirees because of their spending power and the time they have available. And, you know, we do things like we look at, there's a system in advertising called prism coding, where you can actually look at a demographic group and say, this kind of customer is our best customer because they're interested in the kinds of things that we have to offer as a destination. And so then you can actually figure out, well, people like that, people who are interested in golf, for example, which is a great product for us. You know, golfers in Chicago, you can figure out not just, you know, there are golfers in Chicago, obviously, but also what TV shows are they most likely to watch? What publications do they read the Sun Times or the Trib? You know, I mean, you know, by and large. And and they're not hard and fast, obviously, but you can get a sense for media preferences. And so then when you go buy advertising, you can go buy with that in mind.
Okay.
So we do a lot of that. But I think that, it's a fascinating and fast-moving business. The other thing is we've got the boomers retiring, but then we've got Gen X, Gen Y coming up with more and more money.
Right.
And and they're at a different place. And in fact, the Detroit Convention Bureau in particular is being very aggressive for that younger demographic. And so we're kind of looking at how that works.
Why is that?
Well, they've really decided that their attributes as a city, and I think they're right about this, they did some branding research of their own, that their attributes as a city are best sold to, best marketed to younger people who are into the club scene, the sports scene, the gaming scene, they've got the 3 casinos obviously, and that some of the things that some people might see as kind of negative about Detroit, like kind of the gritty nature of it, even with all the improvements that have taken place, it's still a gritty big city. That demographic cares little about that. That doesn't bother them at all. They kind of like that, in fact.
Really?
Yes, that was kind of the urban explorer kind of thing.
Right.
So they've really decided that for their marketing efforts, they've really shifted down to 25 to 34 as kind of their primary age group.
Wow.
And again, there is a lot going on with the restaurant scene, club scene, music scene down there, and so they're trying to capitalize on that, and that's a very different strategy, and that means doing more web marketing, which we're doing also, and some of those things rather than maybe buying traditional magazines.
So to summarize, you're sensing that the Northern Michigan folks should be spending more time working on internet, and you brought up sort of the keeping on to the aspects of the videos, and then hopefully at some point in time what's going to be happening on the voice over internet protocols and
all that stuff.
And that seems to be one of the ways that people, and you're telling me that they need to spend more time on that because the traditional brochure 800 number type of a system,
correct,
while it's still important, has declined.
It has declined, and we push a lot of traffic from our website to tourism industry websites, big and small, whether it's Grand Hotel or a bed and breakfast, and especially the smaller businesses will often send us a note and say, hey, 40% of my bookings come from traffic from you. It's all web-based, it's all kind of getting pushed through us, and then people drill down and find that bed and breakfast in Traverse City or wherever it is, in Petoskey, and that's where they stay. So, and the other thing I think is, we all need to expand our reach further out. And we are partnering with a lot of people to do that. As you know, there's a push to get money to try to get a national promotion going, because I think that, and again, certainly with your district, who doesn't believe that's not a national quality product?
I totally agree with you.
Who doesn't believe that?
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity of having you on our show today.
Thanks for the invitation.
Very, very kind. Now, do you have podcasts or web things that we should be mentioning?
Well, I just would say keep an eye on Michigan.org. We always add new stuff to the site.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, for our listeners, you can get a hold of me just by Googling Jason Allen. We are also available on iPod through podcasts, and we're also available at YouTube, and this program will be on that. And this concludes our edition of Northern Michigan Update. And if you need to get a hold of us, our website is www.senatorjasonallen.com. And our toll-free 800 number is 866-525-5637. Thank you.
Let's take a walk. Down paths of green star stone, over dunes of Kalkaska sand, across bridges, up boulevards, along grand verandas, through the priceless and the timeless. Let's walk out of the world as we know it and into the world we don't. A new trailhead awaits. Where it leads is pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.